So intuitively, one may think that Stevie Student would be the ideal place for automobile manufacturers to focus. However, Stevie Student has very limited financial resources and in fact relies heavily on mom and dad when making this type of purchase decision, as I'm sure some of you can attest to. Our research actually indicated that Freddie First Job is the real driver of trends within Gen Y. Freddie First Job has recently graduated college, he's in his first position, and he finally has some disposable income. Freddie First Job also, from this point in his life, evolves into, typically transitions into higher income positions. He possibly gets married, maybe he has kids, or even stays single. Regardless of how his life progresses, he transfers into one of these four profiles. So you can see from this, Freddie First Job not only influences Stevie Student and the rest of Gen Y with his purchasing decisions, but he also transitions into the high income purchasers of tomorrow. So you can see from this, we have 6 of the 10 profiles highlighted. Now, the other 4 profiles are still very important to the auto industry. However, we decided to omit them from our further analysis for 2 reasons. First, we saw a substantially lower amount of evolution in their preferences and their perceptions of value over time. For example, our rural subset, Farmer Bob, showed very little change in values and very little change in perceptions of affordability from the age of 18 to 31. In short, Farmer Bob's stuck in his ways. He wants a truck now, he's going to want a truck in 10 years. The second reason that we omitted these 4 people, or these 4 profiles from our further analysis, is that without a college education, these 4 profiles have a significantly lower lifetime purchase power than the 6 profiles we have highlighted here. So for those reasons, we feel that these 6 profiles are best representative of the Gen Y moniker. Now, to further understand who Freddie First Job really is, we created this chart in direct response to some of the prompts given to us from Deloitte. We then plotted Freddie First Job's average response and the average response of his Gen Y counterparts against some of his prompts. Some of the prompts are preferring to pay more upfront, interest in financial incentives, preferring not to haggle, and preference toward domestic vehicles. Now, as you can see in this chart, Freddie First Job's average responses, with the exception of one category, tracks very closely the averages of Gen Y as a whole. We believe that this means not only is Freddie First Job a tastemaker, an influencer, and a trendsetter, but he also can speak for Gen Y as a whole. Now, one particular note of interest on this, we look down here at preference toward domestic vehicles. We see that Freddie First Job and Gen Y as a whole are both indifferent to domestic vehicles. Now, one may look at that as a troubling sign, but we look at it as a significant opportunity for the domestic auto manufacturers. Right now, Gen Y is not customer loyal. They're the least customer loyal generation of all American consumers. Over the next 5 years, these people are going to be driving new vehicles, and this is a great opportunity for the domestics to re-enter the purchase equation. Now that we understand a little bit about Freddie, it's important that we understand how he evolves over time. We found that Freddie First Job's preferences evolve in a very similar manner, regardless of the life path he chooses. So whether he gets married, whether he gets married and has kids, or whether he stays single, his tastes evolve in a very similar manner. To illustrate this point, we created a chart with the same 8 prompts given to us from Deloitte and centered Freddie First Job's responses down the middle. We then plotted Freddie First Job's 4 future states in relation to Freddie. So as you can see from this chart, with the exception of these 2 responses, Freddie First Job's taste evolved in a very similar manner, regardless of life path. For example, in preference to pay more upfront, we see that as Freddie matures and as he grows, his preference for paying upfront increases. This makes sense. Freddie First Job is fresh out of college. He just graduated. He probably doesn't have a ton of money in the bank. As he evolves and as he grows into a position of more financial strength, his preference for paying upfront increases. We look at Freddie's interest in financial incentives and also his preference for haggling. We see that both of these decrease over time. Now, it should be no surprise that Freddie First Job is very interested in incentives for recent college graduates. However, that interest in financial incentives decreases over time as he grows. When you combine that with a decreasing preference to haggle as he grows and as he evolves, this paints a very clear picture of Freddie First Job's growing into and desire to have a more transparent purchasing process and a very clean negotiation when buying an auto. So what does this all mean for the auto industry? What does this mean for the automakers? Gen Y is not one size fits all when it comes to terms of perceptions of value and affordability. However, that said, Freddy First Job is the key to understanding Gen Y and to attacking or targeting Gen Y with your products. Freddy First Job influences Stevie Student, and he also grows into the other high-income purchasers of the future. So not only do automobile manufacturers need to engage Freddy First Job, they need to understand how he grows and how he evolves over time, and continually re-engage Freddy First Job as he grows into these other profiles. So in short, a different strategy needs to be used to engage Freddy First Job and all of the Gen Y subset profiles. Some further implications for the auto industry. We look at model-specific marketing. We feel that Gen Y is better targeted by using model-specific advertising opposed to the traditional family or line advertising that auto manufacturers have used in the past. We believe that model-specific advertising better allows automakers to target specific Gen Y buyer clusters. And we also think that adjustments need to be made in terms of incentives, in terms of pricing, and in terms of features and packages. They need to be made at the model level. We believe that this is the best way to attack Gen Y, get them individually and target them in the buyer clusters that they have. With that said, we'd like to thank Deloitte very much for giving us the opportunity to present today. We'd like to thank Marketing Associates and also Michigan State for help putting this event on, and thank all of you for spending your Saturday with us. Thank you very much for your time.